Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to NFToyz with the Z. You know, Allison, that's going to be our thing now. It's going to be our intro.
With a Z.
Yeah, because because somebody already bought NFToyz maybe years ago, maybe decades ago. I don't know. I don't remember.
Dare they?
How dare them?
How dare.
So now we have to be stuck with NFToyz with the Z, but I like it though. I like it. It's
edgy.
It's edgy. Yeah, with the Z. You know, none of that S stuff.
This is like 90s edgy.
Yeah. Well, it's still better though. Still good, I think. It's like
We're just cool, okay.
We'll leave the S to the traditional, finance. We're DeFi is what we call it. We crypto kids call
degenerates.
No, not degenerate.
No, is that not what DeFi?
Decentralized.
Okay.
Decentralized. Not. I mean, in some aspect, I feel like degenerate.
I feel like it's appropriate either way.
No, it is. It is.
I'm not wrong.
In some way, I feel like you can probably say that NFT and all the trading activity is kind of a degen finance, right? It's kind of like you're just aping to things without even knowing what it is. Ape first, ask question later. I think that's the motto of
financial advice
of DegenFi. We're gonna coin that term now, DegenFi.
DegenFi.
Okay. But yes, welcome back. Last episode, after we're done with recording the last episode about
when I was going through and editing.
Yeah, and Allison's like, son, you sound very boring. You sound like you're falling asleep.
So,
you're like too.
We're talking about our sausage.
And I told her, I'm just trying to be like, calm, cool, and collected. Talking about
He's trying to be like one of those cool podcasters.
Yeah, just like, hello.
Who's got the voice?
Hello.
And we're talking about
welcome to
inspiration.
Smooth NFT.
94/7. Anyways,
we're gonna be putting you to sleep through NFT.
That's not what we want.
Yeah, so I am gonna go.
Energy.
I'm gonna bring more energy today, so you guys, can judge me on that.
So says
you're gonna bring energy today.
Thank you.
So leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Leave a comment. Smash the sub.
Don't forget the bell.
Leave feedback on if you're listening to this on podcast. I don't know. Was it Spotify? Anchor?
I know it's on
I don't
Spotify.
know.
I think it's on iTunes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
don't know. It's somewhere.
Just
I'm working on it.
Do a search. I don't know.
Find it.
Yeah, just leave a feedback. Leave a review. Give us a 5-star. Tell me how boring I am, and I will try to get better.
Or not.
I'll try to get better.
Because he's got energy now.
Do I? Am I doing a better job today?
We'll tell you when I'm editing.
So far.
Yes.
So far, I'm doing good. So anyway, today we're gonna. Earlier today, I was just like on Twitter, just browsing around, looking.
Always on Twitter.
On crypto
Too
Twitter.
much on Twitter.
Yeah, just FOMOing two things and then being frugal and not buying.
Listen, there's a thing happening and I can't buy it.
I can't afford it. And then 2 days later, it's like it jumps in price, and I'm like, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? I feel like that's how everyone feels in NFT. But anyways, it's actually relating to NFT, but not actually about FOMOing to any NFT collection for once. I noticed today when I was on Etherscan, looking around at just browsing the blockchain, just seeing what's going on, seeing all the action, just stalking a few people that I follow, their Ethereum address, who's doing what, who's minting what, just my daily sort of stalking activities on the blockchain.
That's not creepy at all.
It's not on the block. Blockchain is meant for blocking. For stalking. It's everything is verifiable. Everything is trackable. So in some way, it's built for me, the stalker,
This got weird.
NFT stalker. But anyways, I noticed while I'm on there, that they recently, I don't know when, but they recently added support for ERC-1155 token.
So first of all,
what is Etherscan?
Tell me what Etherscan is. Yeah.
What is Etherscan? Etherscan is a web interface that allows you to look at transaction, look at the activities that's happening on the blockchain. So every blockchain has some sort of scanner, so to speak, right? So you have Solscan for Solana, you have Polygon Scan, you have Etherscan. I think that Etherscan is one of the first one, and now everyone is. It's like OpenSea, and every marketplace is C now. Yeah. If I release my own marketplace for Neo, it's gonna be Neo C. Okay, do not take that, please. If you're listening, do not take somebody's like neoc.com buying it now.
I'm sure it's already been bought.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, so back to that. Etherscan is a web interface for you to browse around the blockchain. Also, you can track certain things. Etherscan do support that. And the biggest thing that I like to use Etherscan for is to interact with contracts, with different contracts.
So you can see the contracts on Etherscan. You see the contract.
You can see a transaction. You can see who's holding. For example, first for NFT, you can see the holders of a particular contract. So when I get around to deploying my sausage, and people start minting it, I can see those transactions happening on the blockchain through Etherscan. I can also mint my sausage by interacting with the contract.
Okay, so you can directly mint it by interacting with the contract rather than going to sausageparty.club.
I mean, that is one of the beauty of the blockchain, is that it's like this open API that people can have access, read and write access to it if they have the right permission.
So Etherscan is not just NFT stuff, but it does enable you to view a lot of NFT stuff.
Yes. I mean, it's also for FT, for fungible tokens. So you can track, like, say, how many sushi tokens you have, how many unis token you have, and, who's transacting what. So that's what it's built for. And it's just really, 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 really useful.
Are you these days ever not on Etherscan?
No, I'm always on Etherscan.
You always have that tab open.
Just constantly. Just browsing around, just tracking things, just seeing who's doing what, keeping an eye on things. Things are just going crazy, moving fast. So I'm just keeping an eye on everything. So it's fun. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you're a teenager and growing up in the 90s and you're
I don't know. I was a teenager in the early 2000s.
Oh, even teenager now. I feel like the blockchain, now that come to think about, is built for people like me who like to just kind of stalk things, like kind of like going out there and creeping up on things, in a nice legal way.
Not in a creepy way.
But it's like it's fun to. It's for people who like to investigate in things, to kind of like, I want to get in there. I want to see what's going on. I want to see who's doing what. I want to break things down. It's great for people who like to just dig around things, figure
out what's going on in the industry.
Yeah. So it's just a very useful tool. I don't think, blockchain would not be the same, I think, without Etherscan or scanner of the like for different blockchain. So
okay. So what is the relevance of ERC-1155?
So that's a good question, Allison.
Thank you. I'm full of them.
So right now, the biggest standard, when you write contract, there's different standards, and standards are there so that everyone can kind of play by the rule, and it makes it easier for people to build applications.
Because if all of the contracts work the same way, then you know what to expect. And you can write things that use those contracts, and everything will pretty much work the rather
same
than
way.
Everybody just doing whatever the heck they want. And now it's like, well, I don't know how you wrote your contract, but I can't work with it.
Exactly. It's like if you take Google and Facebook and everything, and you have a standard in the way they communicate with each other, and everyone follow that.
The internet?
Yeah, the internet. But then, everyone plays by a different rule, right?
Still, you've got the way that web pages work.
True.
The way that a lot of this stuff works on the web.
Yes.
If we didn't all do it the same way, websites would not work. You would not be able to use APIs. You wouldn't even be able to connect to the internet. Like, it would be a mess.
I mean, you're right.
Standards are good.
You brought up a good point. In some way, HTML is the standard, right? That everyone
that's exactly what I was referring to go without trying to get too technical, because I don't know if people know who are listening to us.
Back to the blockchain. On Ethereum, there's three big standards. You have ERC-20, which is fungible token. So you have all these tokens you see going on the blockchain. I think, yeah, like Sushi, Uni, and all the big fungible token that you hear about.
So Bitcoin, Ethereum.
I mean,
well, actually, but Bitcoin's not on Ethereum. So, okay, that's something to clarify is ERC, well, all of these ERC standards are Ethereum.
Yeah.
So it's for things that use the Ethereum blockchain or EVM compatible.
Yeah. So Polygon, they do use EVM, so Ethereum Virtual Machine.
Yeah.
That's the way that the machine code is kind of compiled down and read.
Okay, that's interesting though, because I did not realize that Sushi and Uni were on Ethereum.
Yeah, so they're on Ethereum. So a lot of these like alt coins, or some people call them shit coins, depending on who you talk to. They are ERC-20 tokens that, so the way that so everyone kind of, it's like, in the NFT world. So now we can trade, different NFT, we can buy an NFT. The same thing happened with fungible token world. Is that, so now, I can trade Sushi with your against your Uni, or I can trade Sushi against it. And you get into the whole conversation of even like stable coins, which what do you call it, which is 1-to-1 with the dollar,
right?
And that is also an ERC token, ERC-20 token. So I can even, it makes it easier to trade in crypto on the blockchain on Ethereum. So so ERC-20 is a big standard for FT, fungible token. In the NFT world, non-fungible token world, you have two big standard, two main standard that everyone kind of agree to play with, and that's ERC-721, and that is the one, when I deploy the sausage, is going to be on
ERC-721 and ERC-1155.
Yes.
Those are the two.
Yes. And there's 721 came first, and 1155 came later, like maybe a few years later. And they are both built for non-fungible token. There's pros and cons to each one of these. And I think you were writing an article. You were trying to write an article for this.
I have an article in progress.
Yeah, and I think
I really need to finish.
I think you have a good sort of analogy for the differences, and you can go into that right now, Allison.
Just throw me into the bus here.
Let's get you in the bus right now, in front of the bus.
Wow, rude.
I'm gonna drive through it.
Beep beep. So 721. Like he said, came first. And 721 was kind of meant for pieces of art that are unique. So if you think like the Beeples of the world, those are generally written using a 721 contract. Could be done on a 1155. Like technically you could interchange them.
Yeah.
But 1155 is more for when you want to do like batch minting. So things like, these generative 10K PFP NFT.
I mean, you could, it would be more efficient, but I think there's not a lot of support for 1155, and I think that's why I mentioned,
which is the big problem.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that. To my surprise today, I saw that it was starting to show up transaction. They have a different tab.
How is the OpenSea support for it? Because I remember you talking about how they were starting to.
So OpenSea supported them from a long time ago. I mean, ever since I start, doing this, looking into this NFT, browsing around OpenSea, I've seen them supporting it a while ago. I was surprised to not see it supported by Etherscan until actually, within the last week.
I see. So OpenSea supports it just fine. Etherscan now supports it. But the analogy that he was referring to was talking about the different sort of real world concepts that you can kind of map to the different types of contracts, the different standards. So ERC-20 would be like money.
Yes.
That's kind of the obvious one. It's just like money. If you have $1, I have $1. If we switch our dollars, we still each have $1, and we don't really care which dollar we have. We just care that we have $1. ERC-721 is
That's non-fungible.
That's non-fungible.
Yep.
And that's like a piece of art, like a piece of unique art, like, you know, the stuff behind me. Where if you have one piece of art that's unique, that's special, you care which one you have, it's not really interchangeable with another piece of art in general. ERC-1155 is not money, but it's also not completely unique. We've heard some people saying semi-fungible, where it's kind of in between fungible and non-fungible. But think like books. You mass produce books. That's not really like money because it's more unique than money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have a book and I have a book, we don't care as much which book we have. But it's definitely more non-fungible than cash money. So that was kind of my analogy to compare the three.
Yeah, and you can see that happening on OpenSea too. The listing is when you go look at and we'll leave in the show note like example links and stuff like that. And if you want to see some more visual in front of our face, you can check it out. You know, NFToyz on YouTube. We're gonna be posting this out to YouTube also.
And go sub so we can eventually have the channel URL.
Yes, exactly. But you can see it on OpenSea where when you're looking at something like ERC-721 listing, you see that is usually has it's a one of one. It's more like scarcity art. It's collectible art.
If you say mint 10 different things through a 721 contract, they will all be individually listed on OpenSea because they are all considered unique pieces of art. If you mint 10 things using an 1155 contract, those will all be grouped. Yeah. And that automatically happens, right?
Yes.
Everything from the same contract?
It gets a little more technical than that in the sense of like
more or less.
Yeah, if you mint everything of the same, like for example, like how would you describe this? Like think of Pokemon cards, right? Yeah. If you mint 10 of Charmander, 10 Pikachu, 10 Charmander card, it's gonna show up. Those are a little bit more semi-fungible, right? Right. And if there is like a special shiny Pokemon one of one card, those would be like truly NFT in the sense of like that truly should probably unique. It's truly unique. There's only one of that. So for example, when we deploy the sausage and people mint, we have 10,000 possible sort of unique
Which
generated
contract are we
sausage.
using for that?
721.
721. Okay.
So when you
I kind of misspoke a little there.
When you mint your sausage, you're gonna get a one of one sausage that's gonna be uniquely that. There's no other, NFT that is the same sausage. That's your sausage.
For example, it's a real world example that I'm thinking of, real world NFT example. The Space Jam NFTs. Yeah. That they were giving out for free. Yeah. If I have a Daffy Duck, there are like probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of the same Daffy Duck NFT out there. Yeah. So they're not going to be unique, and they could all be
scarce either, right?
Right. They could all be listed under the same listing because it's like, if you have a Daffy Duck and I have a Daffy Duck, they're pretty much the same. We don't really care which one we have. We just need to know that we have a Daffy Duck. That's it. Yeah.
So it gets, I think it does get more technical in that. And there's lines in between the two standards that can be a little bit blurred.
In a lot of ways. Yeah. Because I feel like on the surface, they can seem fairly interchangeable. But when you really dive down into things being technical, that's when you really start to see a difference between the two, and between how they work, what you can do with each of them.
Yeah. And one of the big thing about 1155 and why it came about is because Allison alluded to that earlier, is that they have batch minting, for example. Or they have batch functionality that allows you to make one transaction to do multiple things instead of having different transaction to do like different things on ERC, as opposed, like with ERC-721.
So you can batch mint, you can batch transfer, right?
Yeah, you batch transfer, you can batch lookup to see how many, somebody has. So there's a lot of these batch functionality that's, and when you're dealing with, for example, Ethereum, it costs money to do these kind of minting, when you want to do a write transaction, it's going to cost money to write to the blockchain. So with batching, it helps it a lot with, saving. It's much more gas efficient in terms of cost. And I think that's the nice things about 1155. And I'm surprised to see that. I'm not surprised. I feel like I can see that Etherscan needs to support it eventually, and I'm happy they are supporting it. And I can't wait to see it being more widely supported by other people, because I think there's some cool things you can do with it. And I think when you're talking about blockchain and blockchain games, I feel like most of them are gonna be ended up, being on a ERC 1155 standard. So
okay. So with all of that said about 1155, what is the benefit of still doing things on 721?
I think it has to do with just a lot of application, a lot of dApps, decentralized apps support that better.
So it's better supported right now.
Yeah, it's better supported because you can, if you really get technical, 1155, you can do that whole. I can do the sausage on 1155 and have that be able to have that scarcity built in, that you can only have 10,000 token ID, and each one will get one owner. You can do that 1155, but 721 is a standard, and everyone's kind of like, all a lot of NFT right now is being run on this FOMO mechanic. This FOMO, everyone is this hype and FOMO and scarcity.
Yeah.
Because right now, even when there's a big drop, and if there's like more than 10,000, I'm just thinking to myself in the back of my mind is like, man, the supply and demand is kind of out of whack here. There's too many
it's all over the place.
Yeah. So so I think that plays into the 721 being the standard that a lot of people are using. So that and support, I think is the big thing of why people are still doing 721.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's so I think it's going to be interesting. We're going to do like we allude to in previous episode, we're going to be doing a lot of,
and we'll keep alluding to.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of future projects, and we have some projects that we have in mind that we're probably going to be touching on 1155. And I think it's interesting to play with these two standards and see where NFTs
We're going to be here playing with all the different standards, all the different blockchains, all the different everything.
Yep.
So we, have that experience and can tell you guys all about it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So I think that's I think that's pretty much it for this episode, right? I think it's a good episode.
That's a good episode.
So let us know if you have any question. I know it's a little bit kind of maybe a little bit all over the place. Hopefully the energy was there.
That's what counts.
Yeah, and I think hopefully it gives you a good primer to the differences between the two standard.
And like he said, if you have any questions, just let us know in the comments, because we are always happy to go over that in a future episode and go into more detail about something, or finally publish that article I've been working on.
Yeah. And then maybe we can point it to the people, and then we can tell them to go there for more information
instead of more of our rambling.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I think that's it. We'll see you next time. Oh, wait. Don't forget what
today is the last day to
enter for the sausage.
To win a sausage party NFT. Way back on our first episode, go leave a comment there. You might be the only one.
Do we have any comments
yet?
We have no comment
yet.
Wow. Does anyone even listen to this
I
podcast?
think we're talking to ourselves right now.
It's okay. We're having fun talking to ourselves.
It's all good.
We're getting better, though.
You know what? By the time anybody finds us, we're going to be so good at this.
We're going to be good at
Just
this
don't
podcast.
look back at our original.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to flow much smoother. We're going to know what we're talking about more.
I mean, it's already so much better than that first episode.
It is.
So much better.
Hopefully today, a lot of energy.
A lot of energy.
But yeah, go hopefully sometime today or tomorrow, whenever we get this out, I will get the sausage contract deployed.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about some of the issues that happened with that in an upcoming episode. So hopefully we'll have some sausages.
Yes, hopefully so. And then you all can go mint some sausages, and you can see how ERC-721 works on the blockchain.
Exactly. Have your own experience.
Yep. That's it, right? We're good?
That's it. We're good.
Any more side note? Okay, we're good.
We're good. Check us out on your favorite podcasting platforms. Check us out on YouTube. For our show notes, go to NFToyz.com. Yep. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.